Hello, this is Wayne Roseberry from Software Testing. It's been a minute, and I wanted to make another video. This one, I want to cover claims testing. I was writing some material on ideas for doing claims testing and decided to put it through the paces a little bit so that I could have some ideas that I could jot down in a document. And I picked a app to look at to investigate the claims that are made on the app's website and started just breaking down my way how I think about the claims, how I would approach testing those. You don't see a full-blown testing coverage in this one. I didn't go in and do much testing as much as describe in the video about how I break down the claims into ideas that motivate that investigating claims. There's also a little bit of digging in on the relationship between claims and documentation, which can yield some good results. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the video. Okay, I am looking at testresults.io. I decided I wanted to explore some different ways of doing claim testing. Claim testing is when you test whether or not claims made about a product can be invalidated. Other ways you can find where the claim is violated, where the claim may not be true, things like that. Because claims are a description of things a product is supposed to be able to do, things make better, success stories, things like that. And if the product doesn't live up to claims, you've got some kind of a bug there. Either the claim itself is a bug, or the supporting materials are, or just the product is trying to do, was designed to do what the claim satisfies, but isn't accomplishing it. So I just randomly chose testresults.io. It's a product that I'd heard of, and I thought, well, their website probably has claims about the product on the front page. Okay, cool, great. Right? They've got some things that they say here. We scroll down to where we start talking about the value proposition of the product. Okay, and I'm going to scroll to the sort of second body of claims they got here, because I want to talk about the exploration that we do when we have a claim, right? So this one says automate test cases from prompts, write your test steps in any natural language, and let test results automate them for you across different applications and devices. Most accurate GenAI based automation for software testing based on your application's context with an individual RAG, which I forget, retrieval augmented generation or something like that. It's basically when you tie AI with a database of content and you use the AI in conjunction with the database of content to get better results from your AI, more useful results, more controlled results. Enables team members with diverse backgrounds to automate. So let's look at this. First off, just real quick, there's several claims made in this section that you might want to investigate for testing. You can write test steps in natural language and let test results automate them. So that's the first claim. You can use natural language and you will get automation from test results. And then there's a secondary part of this claim across different applications and devices. So the idea here would be I could write a step that might apply to two different apps. Maybe we have two different apps that do a similar kind of thing, and we want to cover these steps or these ideas across the two. So that would be the next claim, covering multiple apps and devices. So it's like if I have the same app on web, on mobile, where the mobile is Android versus Apple versus a tablet, I should be able to, get, on a PC running web browser, phone, running an app, whether it's Android or Apple, and then a tablet. So there, we've got three claims already that we could look at. Most accurate GenAI-based automation for software testing. Okay, this statements like most accurate are also a claim, right? And for this one, it's like you take sort of a different approach to the claim. It's like, how do you have to establish your basis. What do we mean by accurate? You have to define what accurate means. How did they even have a definition for it? If this is your product, you should be asking, what do we mean by accurate here? And how are we going to establish that? Do we find an alternative product doing the same kind of thing, um, and just try the same prompts, try the same natural language instructions, or what? How do we establish that, and what is our basis for accuracy? So you got to come up with something as a methodology if you choose to test that. I'm going to skip the next one for just real quick. Enables team members with diverse backgrounds to automate. That's an interesting uh, claim because we have to establish what do we mean by diverse backgrounds. Are we talking about people who aren't testers automating? Are we talking about people who are not skilled in programming automating? Or what do we mean diverse, right? Diverse is kind of a fuzzy word here, but we can go to the product team, marketers, or business owners and say, what are you trying to say here? Who is this you're selling this to? And what promise are you making to them? What claims are you making to them? And can we cover this in the testing? Right. So I'm just going to throw out there what I would guess. I would guess that what they mean is people who either do not have a testing background or do not have a programming background. I'm going to assume that's what they mean. So they can pull in people from like the business unit to create automation for the product. So I would say I'm assuming that's what you meant by this. I'd tell the product owners that, or the managers that, or something, and I'd come up with a series of activities which would exercise that case to see what kind of problems come up while I'm doing that. Okay, so there's a basis for a claim. Let's take a look at this middle one, based on your application's context with an individual RAG. Okay, so I don't know what they mean by an individual RAG or application context, and I don't understand how they use that. Does that what features are coming into play? What is the way that we do that? Right? Are they saying that we take information about the product and put it into a RAG-based system somehow, like feed the engine some content about our product and then start doing the prompting? Or are we talking about something else? Like maybe the engine, what they mean by that is the LLM's model is running inside of our own environment, not consumed outside, because there's always this concern with LLMs that the prompts that you're giving them are being stored centrally somewhere for study and research, but sometimes you've got proprietary information that is owned by your corporation that you do not want outside of corporate control. And is that what they mean by individual RAG? Not so much that they've got your product information in there to use to satisfy the prompts, but just that you've got a private model. I don't know. I'm trying to understand what that is. So I want to understand the product a little better, right? Well, okay, we've got docs. That's great. And docs are a great way to test claims, because docs are two things relative to a claim. If a claim is made somewhere else, the documentation is one of the ways that you go to find out how is this claim satisfied, right? What are we telling people to do? How does this work? The other thing with documentation is they make claims of their own, okay? But let's just answer this question, what do you mean based on your application's contact with an individual RAG, okay? And you're going to step off here and I'm going to search RAG, right? Because the marketing material said based on individual RAG, so maybe we tell people how to use it? Indeed we don't. The word RAG does not appear inside the documentation at all. All right, what about this one? What about AI? AI, visual sense configurations. 404 could not find a cake matching this query. Ain't no cake like that. I'm not even sure what, actually I should look that up and see what that is. But all right, where's the documentation about how to use AI? I got this funny result for ain't no cake like that. I'm going to assume that's actually in the documentation. Let's take a look and find what that is. AI ain't. Let's just find email. Where's our word? I should search for AIN and see where it finds it. Ain't No, 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 no. It's not on that page even. Oh, well, oh no. Cakes recipe, but we're talking about cakes on here. But there is no AIN anywhere on this page, and yet the the search on the documentation returned a 404 ain't no cake like that. It's like they've got an out of date searching index or something like that. So here we go. I Now this isn't disproving the claim. All right, we haven't gone in as far as disproving the claim, but we have this. We found what I think are two decent problems against the product, which are a person who's looking for this rag-based stuff that you're talking about on the marketing materials on the front isn't going to find rag in there. Okay, all right. A person who's looking for, well, where's your AI stuff? You make all this claim about AI generated, and it doesn't talk about using AI in here. It has a visual desire to start generating, save time generating the correct UI element augment based on our label with AI-driven layout detection. Okay, but that's not, as far as I could tell, what it was talking about, right? I don't know. Maybe we get something off of that, but I would expect a more direct page talking about what's meant here. What are we talking about? How do you make this happen? And the search results are not being very helpful. I want search results that talk about this. And I love that this ain't no cake is not even on the page it's referencing. It's like what's going on there? So there we go. Two bugs just popping out from digging around with a little claims testing. But so the point being here that if you start just poking around, what are they claiming about the product, and just trying to follow up on researching it, trying to say how does a user get more information, and furthermore coming up with ways that you could test a given claim, right? Like this most accurate GenAI based automation for software testing. So my first thing that I'm going to do is, for the sake of my testing, have a notion of what does accurate mean to me, right? I would probably say if I tell it to do a task using natural language and I run the automation, the task that results matches the intent. Okay, that I would say if it does that, it's roughly accurate, right? And so then I would collect the competitors we're talking about. Who else is in the market, and get a look at them and give them the same prompt against the same application and compare. Does that competitor's product create automation that more or less accurately reflects the intent of what I was saying with the language? Just go through and compare. That's how I would come up with an approach for testing that claim. There's probably better approaches that you probably could go in more deeply if one wanted to really dig it. Matter of fact, you probably would go in very deeply on this because, as we know from doing prompt-based work with LLMs, there's a lot of sophistication and back and forth that goes with it. So you'd probably want to flesh out several tasks that you want to accomplish and several degrees of freedom on what you mean by accuracy. Like, something may make it work one way where another's make it work the other way, and both may match the intent equally. So you need to flesh out your view of what you mean by that. But it's that would be the basis of how I check that claim. Perhaps, enable teams members with diverse backgrounds to automate. So I don't know. I might just grab someone from one of the business groups, or one of the other groups around me who doesn't do testing normally, doesn't do automation normally, give them a set of things we want to automate in a product. Say, I want to have this product launch, show the front page, and then check and make sure that all of the following links are there with the content we expect. Say, can you get that done? And give it to a handful of people and watch them do that and see how well that goes. Okay, so that's what we mean by claim testing. Just coming up with an approach and things that we do based on claims that we see, and as demonstrated by this random walk, not cherry picked, but just randomly picked. Even doing that, just investigating, we start to find things that don't look correct that we can report to the product team and say, hey, maybe you want to improve this there. All right, thank you.